Ever wondered how many people around you are fighting a battle you know nothing about? It's a thought that might have crossed your mind, but perhaps not in the context we're about to explore. We live in a world where everyone is fighting their own silent battles, and quite often, these battles are waged within the mind. Yes, we're talking about mental health, an often overlooked yet crucial aspect of our lives. It's a subject that affects us all, whether we realize it or not. The World Health Organization estimates that 1 in 4 people worldwide will be affected by a mental or neurological disorder at some point in their lives. That's a significant number of people, yet we rarely talk about it. Why is that? Well, mental health unfortunately carries a stigma. It's often seen as a sign of weakness, something to be hidden, something not to be discussed. It's this stigma that makes the battle even more challenging for those who are struggling. They're not just fighting their mental health challenges, but also the societal pressures that discourage them from seeking help. It's a silent battle, one that's fought behind closed doors, away from prying eyes. And it's not just the person with the mental health challenge who's affected. It impacts family, friends, and everyone else in their circle. The ripple effects of mental health issues can touch every aspect of our society. But there's hope. There's always hope. In the face of adversity, human beings have shown an incredible capacity to adapt, to overcome, and to triumph. Countless individuals have faced their mental health challenges head-on and have come out stronger on the other side. Their stories are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. These stories, these personal accounts of triumph over mental illness, are what we're here to share with you today. They're stories of hope, of resilience, and of the power of the human spirit. They're stories that need to be heard, stories that can inspire us all. The first step towards change is always awareness. Let's start this journey of awareness together, and perhaps in doing so, we can help break the silence surrounding mental health. Meet John, a successful lawyer who was once a prisoner of his own mind. John's story unfolds much like a mystery novel, but with a twist. It isn't a tale of crime and punishment, but rather a journey of self-discovery and healing. John was a rising star in the legal world. His colleagues admired his sharp wit, and his clients trusted his counsel. But behind the polished exterior, a storm was brewing. John was battling depression. It wasn't just a case of the occasional blues or Monday morning dread. It was a relentless, engulfing wave of sadness that made every task feel like climbing Mount Everest. His work began to suffer. Deadlines were missed, court dates postponed. His personal life was no different. He disconnected from friends, stopped pursuing his passions, and his once vibrant world was reduced to shades of gray. Yet John suffered in silence. Like many, he believed that talking about his feelings would be a sign of weakness, especially in his high-pressure profession. He feared the stigma, the judgment, the potential loss of respect. So, he put on a brave face and continued his silent struggle. But one day John reached his tipping point. His performance at work was at an all-time low, and he felt isolated from everyone he cared about. It was then that he realized he couldn't go on like this. He needed help. John took the first step towards recovery. He reached out to a mental health professional, and for the first time he spoke about his feelings. It wasn't easy. It took courage to confront his fears, to admit that he was struggling, but it was the beginning of his healing journey. John went through therapy and medication, learned coping strategies, and started practicing mindfulness. His path wasn't linear. There were setbacks, but each step forward, no matter how small, was a victory. Today, John is not just a successful lawyer, but a happier, healthier individual. He uses his experience to advocate for mental health awareness in his profession, breaking the silence and stigma associated with it. John's story is a testament to the human spirit's resilience and the power of seeking help. His journey shows us that it's okay to not be okay, and it's even more okay to seek help when we're not. Now let's turn to Emily, a vibrant young woman who battled anxiety. Emily's story is not just a story of struggle, but also of resilience, courage, and self-discovery. Emily was always the life of the party, the one who brought laughter and joy wherever she went. But beneath that jovial exterior was a relentless undercurrent of anxiety. It was like she was constantly walking a tightrope, teetering on the brink of an unfathomable abyss. The fear was paralyzing, the worry was incessant, and the dread was omnipresent. Initially, Emily tried to ignore it, hoping it was a temporary phase that would pass. But the anxiety clung to her like a shadow that grew darker and more formidable with each passing day. She found herself trapped in a vicious cycle of fear and apprehension, a cycle that was spiraling out of control. But Emily was not one to accept defeat. She knew she had to do something, anything, to reclaim her life, from the clutches of anxiety. That's when she decided to seek professional help. It was a decision that was not easy for her, fraught with stigmas and misconceptions. But Emily was determined. She was ready to confront her fears, ready to break the chains of anxiety that held her captive. Her journey towards healing was not a straight path. It was filled with roadblocks and detours, but Emily was relentless. She attended therapy sessions, learned about cognitive behavioral techniques, and practiced mindfulness. She began to understand her triggers, learned how to manage her reactions, and found ways to calm her racing thoughts. Self-care became a crucial part of her routine. She took time for herself, nurtured her body and mind, and practiced self-love. She found solace in yoga, strength in meditation, and freedom in expressing her feelings. Gradually, Emily began to regain control over her life, her anxiety no longer the puppeteer pulling her strings. Emily's story is not just a story of triumph, it's a story of hope. It's a story that tells us that it's okay to seek help, it's okay to take care of ourselves, and it's okay to prioritize our mental health. Emily's story shows us that even in the face of crippling fear, we can find strength within ourselves. Our final story is about Robert, a war veteran who overcame PTSD. Robert was a soldier, a warrior. He'd seen the unimaginable while stationed overseas, experiences that left deep imprints on his psyche. Returning home, he thought he'd left the war behind. But the war had followed him, in the form of post-traumatic stress disorder, often referred to as PTSD. He found himself trapped in a world where every loud noise was a potential threat, every quiet moment a chance for the memories to flood back. His nights were haunted by nightmares, his days filled with anxiety. He became a stranger to himself, unrecognizable even to those who loved him. His relationships strained, he found himself isolated, lost in the labyrinth of his own mind. But Robert was a fighter. He knew he couldn't let PTSD dictate his life. He began his journey of healing with the first step, acknowledging his pain and seeking help. He reached out to his loved ones, explaining his struggles, his fears, and his hopes. They became his support system, his lifeline. Robert started therapy, a daunting task for anyone, but he was determined. He learned about PTSD, its triggers, and how to manage them. He began to understand his reactions, his panic, his fear. It was a difficult process, filled with setbacks and triumphs, but he persevered. He sought out other veterans, finding solace in shared experiences, strength in shared resilience. He began to meditate, to practice mindfulness, grounding himself in the present. He took up painting, channeling his emotions into vibrant colors and bold strokes. Each piece of artwork marked another step in his healing journey. Robert's story is not unique. There are countless others like him, battling their inner demons silently. But his courage to seek help, to openly discuss his struggles, to tirelessly work towards healing, serves as an inspiration. Robert's story is a beacon of hope for those dealing with PTSD, showing that healing is possible. His journey reminds us that it's okay to ask for help, that there's no shame in facing mental health challenges, and most importantly, that there's always a way through the darkness. These stories are just a glimpse into the many battles fought every day. Each account underscores the strength of human spirit, resilience, and the power of hope. What we've heard today are tales of triumph over mental illness, each unique yet intertwined in the common thread of courage and perseverance. We've journeyed through the silent struggle, the seemingly endless nights of anxiety, depression, and fear. We've seen the transformative power of a turning point, that moment of clarity when the decision to seek help becomes the first step towards healing. In the retelling of these stories, we are reminded of the importance of mental health awareness. Recognizing the signs within ourselves and others is the first step in breaking the silence. It's about understanding that mental health is just as important as physical health, and that it's okay to ask for help. We cannot underestimate the power of support in this journey. A listening ear, a comforting word, a shared experience. These are often the lifelines that keep us afloat when we feel like we're drowning. A support network can be as diverse as the people who need it: friends, family, therapists, support groups, or even online communities. We've also learned that recovery is not linear. There will be good days and bad days, victories and setbacks. But it's important to remember that each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory in itself. In the end, it's about understanding and empathy. It's about creating a safe space for dialogue and support. It's about acknowledging that mental illness is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to the strength of those who battle it every day. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. And always be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about.